Okay, guys, welcome back to another stream. Of course, today, as the title suggests, we shall be talking about Demna's latest Balenciaga collection. They're calling it the Summer 25 because some people are kind of like mixing and confusing the Resort 25 collection with Spring 25. So this is Summer 25 collection. Many interesting things to talk about, both positive and negative, as always, seems to be the case with Demna. Well, I think it just shows that he's such a polarizing designer, like in a good way, that he gets us actually talking about fashion. And we're really interested to talk about the clothes. I think with a lot of other designers, the clothing is so uninteresting that we end up talking about every other aspect of the show outside of the clothing. So I think it's a testament to Demna that actually we always end up talking about the clothing and the accessories and like all the other stuff. But yeah, with Demna, of course, a lot of you know who Demna is. For people that don't know, I guess I'd be in shock if you didn't. But Demna is a fashion designer, obviously the creative director of Balenciaga. Balenciaga is a house that he joined in 2015, from my memory. Before then, he was obviously designing at Vetements. That was kind of where he built his brand, his personal brand, his name in the industry. And really, with Vetements, he became known for the kind of like deconstructing and subverting everyday clothing, which is also what he's been doing at Balenciaga. And it's inspired by many different aspects of his life, whether it's his time studying at the Royal Academy of Fine Arts in Antwerp, whether it's post-Soviet Georgia, the Georgian War, his experience being a refugee. All those kind of themes are all embedded into Vetements, which is very interesting. Of course, it was very, very much inspired by Margiela, which is a brand and a house that he worked at. So it makes sense why there would be kind of like that influence there. Also, he went to the same school as Margiela, so it doesn't surprise me that I see a lot of things that Demna does, and it reminds me of Martin Margiela himself. But yeah, before I continue, what did you guys think of the Balenciaga show? If you guys have seen it, what were your quick thoughts before I start rambling for an hour? Okay, Rachel says I just didn't see anything new. That's definitely a true thing to say. It's definitely facts. Yeshua says mid. Leo says, listen, this show to me was the first time in a while I can see a positive pivot. Interesting. Interesting. The next man says the same old Demna. There was this one look. That's crazy. That's crazy. So what we're going to do is, as always, we're going to look at the runway show, talk through the runway show, and then, of course, there's so many other things I have to talk about. So we're just going to kind of do it, the way we always do it on these live streams. So yeah, let me just put it up on the screen. So funny enough, right? This show opened with these like lingerie looks, which I found really interesting. Let me just pause it there because I actually think this is an interesting thing to talk about. Now, first of all, if you look closely, it's all just one piece. But this lingerie thing, what it reminded me of, because Demna, a lot of his work is really just about like I said, what he's been doing since Vetements is like looking at everyday clothing, deconstructing it, reconstructing it, subverting it, changing its context. It's really what he likes to do. And this whole, it looks like a sleeve, but it's actually just all one piece and all that stuff is something that he's done almost every recent season. But it just made me think of like the current landscape of lingerie when you think of, brands like Victoria's Secret and all the controversy they've been trying to navigate, the fact that they're trying really hard to like come back strong. When you look at their share prices, you look at all the news articles talking about Victoria's Secret and the share prices plummeting, the agent provocateurs of the world. It's very interesting as like a social commentary on just lingerie in general and where that sits in the current zeitgeist in fashion. I would find it really interesting to see if this catches on though. If like people want to wear an all-in-one Balenciaga lingerie piece. It would be very, very interesting to see how this does commercially, just out of pure interest. Oral Health says, do you believe he'll be better as a film and television costume designer? I think he would be a good one, definitely, to be honest. But I don't know if he would be better. I like him as a ready-to-wear designer. I just think that sometimes he does too many gimmicks. But yeah, once again, we have all of these like one-piece lingerie pieces from Balenciaga. You can see the Rodeo bag. Clearly, this is a bag that they're really pushing extremely hard. Something I also found really interesting in the show notes, and he mentioned that this quote, and I'll tell you guys the quote that Demna said. He said, "The time has come for fashion to have a point of view," which confused me because in my head I'm thinking, are you just realizing that fashion has to have a point of view? Like, why would you say that now? Like, are you just realizing as a designer that fashion has to have a point of view? That's very confusing. I feel like every time Demna says stuff or he has an interview, he always says something where I'm like, you shouldn't have said that because what? Like, why? So yeah, the opening of the collection was very much Victoria's Secret coded. Agent Provocateur. I love those sunglasses, by the way. Really, really nice sunglasses. Oh, Finn says it's not even a Rodeo, it's a cheaper bag of the range to be introduced. Okay, that's interesting. I guess it makes sense for them to have a cheaper version because price and the fact that a lot of the cost of these things is becoming really out of hand for a lot of people. Caleb says the Rodeo is perfect, definitely the most popular bag in our store, and people are constantly coming specifically to see it. This is a new iteration of it called the Nano. Yeah, because it looked the same to me, which is why I thought it was a Rodeo bag. So is it just smaller in size, or is it made with cheaper materials? Should be very interesting. But yeah, it does so well commercially. So clearly they're starting to make different versions, seeing how they can play with it. Because I mean, why would you not do that with a bag that is clearly and so obviously selling? Culture says Damnen's program notes are always so weirdly worded. I sometimes think he doesn't know what words mean. I mean, English is not Demna's first language, right? So I'll give him some grace. Also, I really like these denim looks, by the way, like silhouette wise. I was a big fan of these. But sorry, what I was saying was that Demna, English is not his first language, so I'll give him some leeway. Although I do think that he needs to run some stuff he says by people because every time he says stuff, I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't say that. Okay, Finn says it's slightly different, thinner. It's a magnetic clasp rather than a twist. Oh, that's interesting. Also, in the collection right now, you can see the Demna isms that we can never get away from. Demna is known for having these oversized silhouettes. We've seen this a trillion times. Literally, these oversized bombers showing the midriff, cropped everything, cropped puffers, cropped bombers, cropped polos, cropped t-shirts, cropped everything, cropped brain, cropped mindset. We've seen all of it in Balenciaga runway shows. Also, we see the sunglasses from those incognito sunglasses from some recent Balenciaga collections. Very, very Margiela coded. Margiela did the same kind of like incognito sunglass idea years and years and years ago. So that is a very much once again another ode to Margiela. But yeah, it's this part, I don't know. It's because I've seen it so many times already. So I was just like, the thing that I was looking at when I saw this show initially was what does the footwear look like? Because Balenciaga footwear is always interesting every single season. And the accessories, I wanted to see it up close, which we will obviously go through later. But yeah, these Demna-isms, I think they're tired at this point. Like we've seen every single type of crop jacket possible to man. we've honestly seen it at Balenciaga runway shows. Rachel says, I love the runway floor. I love it too. I love it too. Cropped at the body with elongated sleeves. Shout out to Sanjeev. The Balenciaga bumpster is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Also, we had this idea that Demna has done with where you subvert parts of the clothing and turn it into something else. We've seen like t-shirts and jumpers made into tote bags. Now we're seeing jackets be turned into the bottom of jackets be turned into hoods for the jacket. So instead of the hood coming from the top and going over your head that way, you bring the bottom of your jacket over your head in the other way, which is interesting in a sense, but I've seen it so many times. It's kind of like those gimmicky things. I brought my jeans just so we can act like it's a Balenciaga show. Just wear my jeans on top of my head like that. I'm gonna do that for the rest of this review. I'm looking very Balenciaga right now. I'm Balenciaga'd out at this point with my jeans on my head. Michael says, yes, I agree. I'm a little exhausted of the bomber jacket plus jeans with interesting footwear look for years now. Yeah. I will say that I definitely prefer this collection to a lot of the recent collections I've seen from him. Oh, here we go again. Another crop t-shirt. The Demna-isms coming full force once again. Someone said, pull your hat down. I know once I do that, I'm completely Balenciaga'd out. Completely Balenciaga'd out. Rachel says, I do like the way his jeans hang on the body. Pretty sexy. Also, going back to the social commentary, because obviously we're talking about the caps, let me just wait for us to get a good view. So we see these Balenciaga sliders. We see all the clothing sewn together that Demna likes to do. A lot of people like to say that it's a commentary on the overconsumption of fashion, but I think how many times can you do that same commentary, in my personal opinion? But these caps are interesting because, like I said, Demna does accessories so well. His accessories are always amazing. I don't think I've ever seen a Demna Balenciaga show since he's been there, since 2015, where I've thought those aren't some really interesting accessories. They're always quite interesting. So in this case, and he's kind of done this before, and this is also an ode to Margiela. It's kind of like using different themes to subvert the face and to be incognito in different ways. We've seen the sunglasses, now they're doing it with the cap. And it kind of reminds me of when like celebrities are trying to obscure their face so the paparazzi don't know who they are and like chase them around and take pictures of them. So it reminds me of like images like this, right? Where people are like hiding their faces and stuff. So that was kind of like a really fun theme in the collection. That's really cool. I wonder if that's just a styling thing or if you can genuinely, because I know Demna has made pieces like this in the past where like a beanie, for example. Do you guys remember from, was it last season or the season before, where there was a beanie that covers your eyes, but there's actually like a place where you can see through the beanie, but people looking at you don't know that. So in this cap, I wonder if it has that same effect where you can wear the cap over your eyes and there's like a lighter fabric that's more see-through for the wearer to actually see through them. That's kind of like an interesting commentary and take. So yeah, I did actually enjoy that very much. Caleb says, super cool concept there. I was wondering how they were seeing the runway. That's why I feel like it might be like the beanies too. Let me see if I can get a picture of the beanies, just so for people that haven't seen them before. Yeah, let me just pause it so I can show you guys the beanies that I'm talking about, because you can still see those looks on the screen. So this is what I'm talking about. These were the beanies where they cover your eyes and go down to your nose, but the wearer can actually see through the beanie. There's a compartment. Yeah, you can see here. It's from the Fall Winter 24 collection. So there's actually a part where you can see through it, which is really cool. So I'm wondering if the caps are following the same theme, where that's actually possible. Human You says he should make a blanket version of that. You remember when Michael Jackson put the blanket over his baby and they called that the baby blanket for almost 2 decades. Okay, Caleb says the caps are see-through. Perfect. So yeah, I could imagine they would be. So I think the caps being see-through is even more interesting because then considering who buys Balenciaga, the people that can afford it, a lot of celebrities wear Balenciaga, and maybe unironically, they will actually start wearing Balenciaga to obscure their face from people in general society, from the plebs, from us plebs in the general society. Guys, how do you feel about my Balenciaga jean piece right now? It's amazing, isn't it? Absolute swag. Got some more looks that we've seen from Demna a trillion times. Thalia says this is the most basic runway for a while. The budget for stunts is gone. That's actually true because Demna normally does like a crazy show when it comes to the sets. Like we've seen that like glitch screen. We saw the Balenciaga collection where it was about like climate change, or the Balenciaga collection, around the time of when the war in Ukraine started. And of course, he had that like snow globe thing. There's so many shows that I can think of where the sets are really, really interesting, or like the EU Parliament blue set. So that's a good point. Not Leo saying he used all the budget on flying influencers in. The thing is, I'm a big fan of Balenciaga, to be fair. I do like making jokes about the stuff because Demna says things that don't make sense sometimes. And I think sometimes people like to overanalyze his work where I don't think it's warranted. But that being said, I think from a commercial standpoint, Demna is one of the strongest designers in fashion right now, for sure. He's just not evolving, and I've accepted it, which is why I don't bash it the same way I used to, because I've just accepted he's not going to evolve. It's fine. He's just going to do the same thing. It's cool. Pilar says, I like the coats and the overalls, the long ones. Jeans on the head. You're too far into the future. Come back to us urbans. Balenciaga hurts because a lot of it works so well in casual wear, but not casual wear budget. Oh my god, my favorite look in the collection. Let's run that back. Guys, the jeans on the head. What do we think about the jeans on the head, guys? My understanding, because a lot of these were kind of like these pieces were embedded into the coat. So earlier in the collection, for example, we saw like these coats with, and jackets too, with like funnel necks and high collars. And what this is a version of a high collar, but obviously in the Demnaism way, subverting everyday clothing. So instead of just having a normal collar like a normal designer, he's doing the Instagram brain rot thing and turning the collar into a pair of jeans instead. It's gimmicky, it's extremely gimmicky, but it's I know it's going to do the rounds on social media, and I know that's probably why he did it, even though he claims he doesn't do any gimmicks, or nothing he does is gimmicky, apparently. Of course it looks ugly as fuck. It's literally a pair of jeans on someone's head. Of course it's ugly as shit. Exactly this. It is rage bait. It does keep people talking too, which is probably why it makes so much sense for him to continue doing it, to be honest. These were kind of cool. These looks, these kind of like, I like the way how stiff they are and how they stay. I really did like these looks. Boring edgelord wannabe. Oh my gosh. This is the end of the show where, of course, let me just pause here because this is an amazing, amazing look from Demna, with the houndstooth and the sparkly. I don't know what kind of embellishments this piece has. But this is really cool. I don't know why Demna always like teases us, where at the end of the show, maybe like the last 3-4 looks, he does these amazingly tailored pieces where they've spent hours making it, and it's kind of like haute couture level and all that sort of stuff. I would just love if every collection, essentially, when he does those like really interesting looks at the end, why doesn't he theme the rest of the show around those last 4 looks? I don't know why he kind of does the commercial gimmicks and then at the end he's like, oh yeah, by the way, guys, I'm actually like a really, really good designer. Here's me proving it to you. Because obviously I would never say Demna's like a per se bad designer, because he's not. He's a really good designer, really accomplished, and I've seen insane stuff that he's made. But I don't know if it's like the merchandisers or whatever, but all the gimmicky stuff, I just can't look past it. Sometimes he reminds us that he did in fact study in a reputable institution. Joe says, but I did like the looks 52 to 55. That sort of reminded me of the binders that trans guys would wear. Interesting. Culture said he's leading us on. I mean, look at this Balenciaga inspired. Well, I mean, it is Balenciaga gown. It's so interesting, and it reminds you of the days of Cristobal Balenciaga, right? It takes you right there. But what I wanted to do, because once again, a lot of the stuff on the runway show you couldn't see up close. So the footwear looked interesting. So I wanted to kind of look at some of the pieces. So this is one of the shoes, which is really cool. It has a nylon zip closure, a Velcro microfiber flap. These are cool. What are they calling these? The basketball sneaker. Who the hell, mind you guys, I'm a basketball player. Who the hell is going to play basketball in those? Like the way you would snap your ankles into two wearing those as basketball shoes is comical. They're called the basketball sneaker. That's crazy. That's crazy. What I will give Balenciaga credit for, though, more so than any other brand in fashion, hands down, is no one does innovation in footwear like Balenciaga. Like whether we're talking the Tyrex or all those crazy shoes, they have some of the best footwear across fashion. That's hands down. Someone said there clearly flight posit, yeah, like the foam posits inspired. They are, but they just look goofy. They're like goofy versions of foam posits. For people that don't know what foam posits are, I'll show you guys now. But in the world of basketball, a lot of basketball players love foam posits, and people wear them as like a fashion shoe. But a lot of basketball players wear them too. So these are the foams. I've actually had a pair of foams to play in, actually. So yeah, I can see the inspiration. It's just weird because they're so goofy. And it's funny because at the bottom of the shoe, you can see the traction pattern, but the shoe doesn't touch the ground because the shoe curves upwards, right? So what's the point of having all that traction if you can't use it? Like, what's the point of that? But anyway, going around, we're getting some of the incognito pieces. This is called the 360 mask, also from the collection. So it says it's a bio-based injected nylon. It's a wraparound single mold design, standard fit, and it's logo laser engraved on the back. So obviously this is very interesting. Demna has been finding different ways to subvert the face and to kind of go incognito, which is obviously a very Margiela thing. As I've said, basically 10 times in this stream already. And we know that Demna is heavily inspired by Margiela. If you look at all the way back into the early Vetements shows, you can see all the inspiration there. So that continues here, and this is something that he's done for many other Balenciaga collections, essentially. These are really interesting earrings, actually. I hope it's not, let me not say what I want to say. Silver tone brass. Gold tone brass in this case. Okay, so this is the bag that I was saying looks like a Rodeo. So they're calling it the Nano bag, as people said earlier. So this is the large top handle bag. They're saying it has smooth leather, folded flap corners, a snap button closure, a shoulder strap, and gold finishing. When people say gold finishing, you know it's some bullshit, because if it was real gold, they would say 18 karat gold hardware or whatever. But to say gold finishing, you know it's some bullshit. You know it's like brass. You already know it is. Which is insane, because the prices of some of these bags is insane. Brixton choker, a chain choker with a buckle pendant, antique silver, engraved Balenciaga logo, and the clasp closure. Where are those like bee necklaces that I saw on the runway where they had like 2 bees? Suspended shirt dress. He's done this loads of times, but this is from the last collection. That's interesting. So they didn't show like the other stuff. Let's see if we can see some like close-ups on Vogue Runway, because they didn't really show the accessories. Tut tut tut, Balenciaga, you're kind of teasing us a bit, but not giving us the full story. Okay, this is some behind the scenes. We can see the cap up close. This is kind of interesting too, because obviously in this sort of like grunge, punky vibe that Balenciaga is going for right now, things like the pierced cap have been really successful commercially. I can definitely see how, this cap with all the spikes coming out is also going to do really well in a commercial sense. I can already see this doing sensationally well commercially. Yeah, culture. Why is luxury fashion so fucking cheap nowadays? It annoys me, which is why I refuse to buy a lot of brands these days. It's crazy, the quality of things considering the price. But hey, who am I? I'm just a guy on the internet that talks about fashion. Joe says, just trying anything I see now that Hodder covers outdoing him at his own game. I mean, Hodder covers, at least Demna has his own aesthetic. I think Hodder cover is still like trying to find her own aesthetic in a sea of Margiela references. I think Hodder cover is kind of like early Vetements. It's just too Margiela. It's like too similar to Margiela for you to say like you're a unique designer in your own right, if that makes sense. She needs to like, we get it, you're inspired by Margiela and you're basically using a lot of his ideas, but she needs to like then make her own aesthetic the way that Demna has, where he has his own distinctive look. Like a Martal Margiela wasn't doing like, obviously it's at Balenciaga, but like cocoon shaped, insanely oversized bomber jackets. So that's a very Demna thing. My Isabel Beninato sweater just arrived. Full credit to you, Ayo. Oh my god, I love Isabel Beninato. I have a lot of knits from Isabel, so shout out to you. Can critique Balenciaga all I want, but then I remember Vetements is a walking corpse while Demna still tries. I don't even know why Vetements is still a thing. Like all Guram does is just look at what Demna has designed and then make parody versions of it. It's kind of, it just feels like a diffusion line of Demna by someone else who's just like making everything that Demna does look more comical. That's basically what Vetements is at this point. It's weird. People in the chat are saying they're sick of brass. Yes, Maya, we discussed the lingerie pieces earlier. I said lingerie, can't even speak. Yeah, we discussed the lingerie pieces earlier. You'd have to watch it back. Exactly. Guram has been stealing Demna's drafts. It's so funny. Like even I made a post about this actually. I can show you guys because I posted about it on Threads. I'll put it on a screen so we can like discuss this stuff. Um Okay, so this is the post I made on Threads, and it says the saga between Guram and Demna continues with Guram creating a DHL tape dress as a play on Demna's Balenciaga tape look for Kim Kardashian. The original Vetements DHL t-shirt was a reference to Demna's early frustrations with the exorbitant DHL rates he paid for as a young designer. You guys can, if you watch my vlog when I went to Antwerp, um, you guys would actually know that because I mentioned this in this vlog when I was exploring Antwerp and like people were telling me about or showing me a lot of the early Vetements references, like where he got them from in Antwerp. Like, oh, this hoodie, um, you know, was inspired by that shop that makes these kind of like touristy hoodies, and that's where the design comes from, and all these like interesting stories. So yeah, then so that's just me saying I found out about this on my trip during Antwerp. But yeah, this is literally Kim K's look, and then his look is just like a worse version of Kim K. It's like Kim K's look, but less work because you tape less of the body. That's why I said he's making parody versions, and then of course that's like the early Vetements reference with the DHL t-shirts, and of course you have Gosha Rubchinsky there, so I've decided to mask his face. um, but yeah, I don't even know why Vetements still exists. It's weird. It's honestly just like a comedy brand at this point. It's strange. It's really really odd. Kim K left Demna for Margella. Pray for Demna, guys. Debbie says it's just marketing because when you see his gimmicky stuff, but still in his shows, the also beautifully constructed garments, and it's kind of like a mind fuck. Yeah, like I said, Demna. This is why I'm a fan of Balenciaga and I'm a fan of Demna's work generally because he makes really nice pieces. Like he'll make a Balenciaga cocoon shaped bomber jacket or Balenciaga cocoon shaped puffer or track, which does work commercially. It's interesting to wear. When you wear it, it doesn't have a basic silhouette. But then you look at the runway shows, and of course, mixed in with those interesting pieces are extreme gimmicks, which normally the gimmick should be fine. And I know obviously I have a funny sense of humor where I just like make fun of these things. That's why I have a pair of jeans on my head I'm in my Demna era. However, it's him. It's because he says he doesn't do gimmicks, which is not true. He claims that he doesn't do things that he's clearly doing. And that's where I start to have an issue with it. But in terms of like a lot of the clothes being really well made, that's very true. And like I've said, the last looks in Demna Balenciaga shows are always amazing. The accessories are always amazing. I think he makes the best accessories across fashion and the most interesting accessories in fashion right now. Obviously, it's not just a testament to him, it's a testament to the footwear designer at Balenciaga, it's a testament to the other accessories designers, but the team is really, really strong at Balenciaga when it comes to those things. Demna is a walking party store with a few come ups. Someone said the jeans on my head look like a cool hoodie. Hey, shout out to Demna for the styling tips. You know, guys, when I was younger, before I guess found my own personal style, and I don't really believe that you find your personal style because I think that personal style is something that continues to evolve. But I guess before I was like, I found how I wanted to dress. I used to just look at runway shows and then thrift clothes and see how I could recreate like runway looks with thrifted clothing, essentially. Um, so this me wearing my jeans on my head like this just reminds me of those days, like going thrifting and then looking at like Alessandro Michele, Gucci shows and like all that sort of stuff and trying to see what pieces I can use to recreate stuff that I saw on the runway. Your jeans have the belt included. You are innovating. um Shayef says, I actually got the tips bag. It's so cool. Yeah, it's really cool because it has interesting padding, doesn't it? They should actually make like a limited edition collab with Lay's where they have like really weird flavors. That would be interesting. Like like some stupid price, like 50 euros for a pack of Lay's like crisps or chips, as Americans say. It'd be very interesting. Yeah, these are the necklaces that we didn't see on the Instagram page. These like 2Bs. This is so Y2K. Like it's insane. And it's so I like the dichotomy of having tacky jewelry like this with a look like this. With like these very Balenciaga inspired, like Cristobal Balenciaga inspired dresses. You can even look at like the shape of the shoulders, really structured shoulders, and then the collars that go all the way out to the shoulder. Really, really interesting silhouette. With the long sleeves, cinched in waist. But it's funny to see the dichotomy between this and then the most tacky jewelry you've ever seen. That is such a Demna thing to do. It's like it's too prim and proper. It's too old school lady. Let me find a way to fuck it up a bit. That's kind of what Demna likes to do, which I do find fun, by the way. I do like that aspect to his work. I also did like these sunglasses with the studs. These are really cool. Those are going to do really well commercially too, because it seems like the lenses are extremely tinted also. So in that same vein of like the incognito thing that Demna is working with. And this is what I'm talking about, where like Demna makes good clothing. Like he's a good designer. Like I said, I definitely love a lot of the stuff that he makes. And when he's not doing the gimmicks, he makes really, really nice clothes. He said this black is really black. I want to see the receipts. I saw a recent piece at Saks, cut-off tank with a raglan long sleeve reattached with holes at the armpit so you can take them off and they hang down the back. Oh, that's interesting. Maya says, I don't mind commentary on consumerism, but you have to comment on something for it to not come off as gimmicky and not in a fun way. I'm totally with you in that sense. 100% with you. Let me just go through the looks. These are the denim looks that I really liked. I did enjoy the denim looks, even though like Demna does denim every season, and he does denim to the point where even in the couture collections, he's like using denim, and in some couture collections that he's done like the Trump loyal thing, the Trump loyal thing, where it's like it looks like denim, but actually it's leather. Or it's leather, but it looks, it looks like leather, but actually it's denim, that kind of shit. He does that all the time. Here we have the cropped everything, cocoon shaped bomber jackets that we've seen time and time again, showing a little bit of the midriff, what Demna loves. Here we have these ridiculous oversized sneakers that they're pushing. I wonder what Demna loves about. It'd be good to speak to like maybe not Demna, but the footwear designer. Why Balenciaga, the new sneakers, whether it's the running sneakers or these basketball sneakers, why the front of the shoes curve upwards? Why he likes that the front of the shoes don't touch the ground. They kind of look like clowny, but in a good way. Like I would wear them because they're so ridiculous. They're like fun. Um but like why does he like curving them upwards that way? I really want to know. Jenny says denim is a way of life though, so I always appreciate it. Same. We've got the lingerie all in one piece looks once again. The 360 glasses as he's called them. Here we go. This is like the puffer version, like a puffer jacket cocoon shaped version. This reminds me of but the debut collection that Demna did, the versions of this jacket in his debut collection I prefer by far. Till today, I'm looking for so many pieces in my size from Demna's debut collection. Because he did puffer jackets, but they just were a bit more polished. Here, I don't know, they just don't look that nice, at least compared to his debut collection at Balenciaga. I'll put it up on the screen for you guys so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Because it's from the full 2016 ready to wear collection, I think. So yes, this stuff here, like this track jacket with the Balenciaga cocoon shape is the perfect balance between like Balenciaga silhouettes and like a commercial piece that you could wear day to day. Amazing. I absolutely love this jacket. Like I love it so much. This has been one of the jackets I've wanted forever. And then obviously there's a green version too. I would get both versions. Like literally, if anyone knows where I can find a massive size of these jackets, I would buy it now. Literally, no joke. So yeah, the stuff here was just way more polished. Like if you look at these versions again of the track jackets, way more polished versions of these jackets, right? So when I compare his earlier collections, like the way that he was doing, like even here, like look at the way he's doing the puffer jackets or like the trench coats. When I compare that to this collection now, this puffer jacket that's cropped, for me, it falls flat. It doesn't look as well considered, in my opinion. Michael says you're going to be paying an arm and a leg for those jackets. True. Rachel says I want to go back to those days. Same. A lot of the Demna heads right now don't like anything before 2022. It's strange. Really? I think earlier Demna Balenciaga was sensational. This whole grunge thing isn't for me. I get that it does well commercially. I see why. Like this jacket, for example, I can see the selling. I love this like shade of brown. It's really nice. I like the padding. It seems like there's a lot of padding in it. This is cool. Like I can see that this would do well commercially, but it's just not my personal taste. I think the earlier Demna Balenciaga collections were my personal taste. But yeah, to not like anything that Demna did post 2022 is crazy to me. That's insane. That to me is like really, really insane, to be honest. Joe says this is the most disappointing thing about Demna is he seems perfectly capable of blending these 60s Balenciaga shapes with contemporary streetwear in a beautiful way, but he just chooses not to. Exactly. Like if Demna did a re-release of those like track jackets and puffer jackets and trench coats I just showed you guys, if he did a re-release of those things for menswear, I'm buying all of that stuff immediately. Like I've wanted that stuff for so long. It's so good. So yeah. But I guess it just depends. I think the reason why a lot of people like this stuff is like if you're into this like opium boys aesthetic, Demna's Balenciaga fits perfectly into it. Like Rick, grungy Balenciaga, and even calling Balenciaga grunge is comical. It's such a contradiction for a massive luxury brand that sells jackets for how much they sell it to be so inspired by grunge. And obviously Demna cites grunge as one of his big inspiration points because grunge was literally about, it's not about money, it's about taking pieces you already have and like styling them in different ways. That is not Balenciaga, because to buy into grunge through Balenciaga you have to buy a $4,000 jacket. So that already removes you from the ethos of what grunge means or what grunge as a subculture stood for. So it's like a contradiction in and of itself. It's kind of like, how can you be grunge and buy a jacket for $4,000 to fit into the aesthetic? It's a bit weird. It's almost like you're rich kid cosplaying as grunge. This is cool, by the way. I love when Balenciaga does motorcycling inspired pieces. This looks like some like motocross looking pants, and the jacket too. This is a clear motorcycling jacket, even with that bit at the front. For people that don't know, I'm an avid motorcyclist. If you guys have seen Micah's latest video, I was actually shopping for a new motorbike. So yeah, it's these are cool. And I've seen some past, sometimes they're actually like they have padding like you would in an actual motorcycling jacket, and they're abrasion resistant. Jeez, I can't even talk today. So you could genuinely use them as a motorcycling jacket, like a genuine one. But am I going to pay thousands of dollars for a Balenciaga motorcycling jacket when I can go to the top of the top in motorcycling gear, maybe like a Dionysi or like an Alpine Stars, and get a better quality jacket that has better padding and it's safer for me to motorcycle in? For less, no. So there's no reason for me to buy the Balenciaga one. But I guess if you're just that rich, then buy it. And I guess not everyone uses these jackets to motorcycle, by the way. You don't have to. But I do like that reference. Kering tried to shut down the stream. That's funny. um, so anyway, what I was saying before Kering shut down the stream um, was that what season was it where Demna had those like motocross looking boots? Those were really, really interesting. I really like those boots. And once again, those were active boots. Like you could actually wear them to like motorcycle. Um, let me see if I can put those on the screen. But I can't remember exactly what season. If you guys remember, when I Google it, it'll probably come up. But they were like these boots here. So these boots, these are exactly like kind of what he's doing with the basketball sneakers, where they're motocross boots, but just more exaggerated with the stupid toe box that's like stupidly oversized and like all those kind of things. And he's done different versions, by the way. So he's done this version, then he's done like these ones, yeah, these ones, the metal ones. These are more like motocrossy, kind of like touring biker boots. And then these are more like sports biker boots. But he's done so. My point being, this is like an inspiration point or a theme across his work every season that he visits and revisits all the time. So yeah. Shout out to Kering though. They were like, you shall not be streaming today. Like this guy's talking too much, sharing too many of our secrets. Once again, I just prefer earlier Demna Balenciaga puffer jacket silhouettes. Maybe it's just me, but personally, it's just what I prefer. Fashion designer. Okay, okay, that's interesting. Human being. This is kind of like, I guess, a play on like Demna's thing, whether it's like the Apple be different thing. Now we're getting, human being. Um, yeah, the cropped polos that we always see from Demna. We've got the two B's, just norm core to the max. Yes, you slightly missed the subculture conversation. We were having the conversation slightly before Kering decided to shut down my stream. Did someone say this is twink uniform? That's crazy. Twink uniform is insane. Cropped polos, that's insane. And then we've got the interesting caps once again. The incognito caps, that was really cool. We've got some Balenciaga sliders. If you want grungy sliders for the people that want to be edgy but also live in a really hot climate, so they can't wear all the massive boots that Balenciaga likes to make. If you live in 50-degree weather instead, you can wear the Balenciaga sliders. Yeah, these are like a bit of the gimmicky stuff that Demna does that I don't really like layering a t-shirt on a t-shirt, a jacket on a jacket. That's not my cup of tea on personally. But like I've said, I've been going through these looks and half of them I really, really like. The accessories, obviously, I really like. The motorcycling references, the denim looks, the dresses with the padding, that's an ode to the old Balenciaga work. The same silhouettes, the incognito glasses. There's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of stuff there for sure. And then of course the last looks really, really amazing that Demna does. So in general, yeah, here we go. This is the look that inspired my outfit today in today's stream. But yeah, all in all, what I do like is that I definitely enjoyed this collection more so than a lot of recent Demna collections I've seen. Of course, recently we had that atrocious Erewhon Hollywood collection from Demna. I genuinely think that's one of his worst collections at Balenciaga, hands down. It literally looked like they collaborated with Lululemon for half of the runway show. This is a big, big, big improvement from that. So yeah, personally, I'm a fan. I'm a believer, even though he still does a few gimmicks, but I'm a believer. Someone said atrocious feels right. You know he's Nigerian because these pants are still on his head. That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm hawking jeans. That's insane. That Hollywood collection is fun in concept, but bad in execution. Felt like jumping the shark. Yeah, I'm with you on that. The stupidly large UGG boots go crazy. Facts. But we've seen so many people do those insanely large UGG boots. We saw Glenn Martins do that at Y Project. Do you guys remember when Glenn Martins did those like just stupidly oversized Uggs? And he didn't just do that in one season. It was like across multiple seasons. Let me see if I can get that for you guys on the screen. Yeah, this is what Glenn Martins did at Y Project. He's like crazy, crazy Uggs. They had the heeled versions, all sorts of versions, all sorts of stuff. I thought you had very cool headphones on. What with the belt? Okay, Rachel's asking me what other shows have I liked so far. To be honest, I haven't followed Fashion Week that closely because I know I'm going to review it anyway, and then I'll have my chance to deep dive it. And I also don't want to be influenced by kind of what people are saying online. But in terms of like what I really liked, I really liked Courage. We can start with Courage. I thought Courage was really cool. I really liked Courage. I liked Dries Van Noten. It's kind of like commercial, but it's cool. I really did like Saint Laurent. Saint Laurent collection was cool. There are aspects of it that I didn't like, and I'll talk about that in my review about the show. But Saint Laurent was really cool. Dries Van Noten, Courage. Um, I'm not usually a fan of Victoria Beckham, but I thought by Victoria Beckham standards, this season they had a really good show, like by her standards. So So that was really cool to see. Bottega I thought was cool. Ferragamo was cool. Prada, I'm kind of on the fence about Prada. We'll see. Yeah, Prada was like, okay. I still need to look deeper into it though, see like what the concept was and really have a look at like some of the garments up close. But yeah, those are kind of like shows that stood out to me. Sakai looked really similar to past 2 seasons. I don't know. It was cool, but wasn't the most interesting of shows. Also, I found the Valentino show interesting. I wouldn't say it was one of the shows that I necessarily liked, but it's very interesting. And there's a lot to talk about when I review the Valentino show, like Alessandro Michele's 10 million look shows. So yeah, that's kind of like those are kind of like my general thoughts on the shows. Observing the Matrix said I hated Sanhor. Anzu Lamista, I wasn't the biggest fan. I just didn't want to talk about Anzu Lamista because I don't want to be too negative. But yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of the show. Which is fine. Fashion is subjective. I saw a lot of people that liked it, which is cool also. Yeah. Yeah, Alaya, I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan of Alaya. There were some pieces that were really interesting, but this season I wasn't the biggest fan. Joe's like, what about the shows you hated? No, we're gonna keep it positive today. I'm trying to be more positive, guys. Don't make me talk badly about brands. We're trying to be more positive, guys. Did you see Boss? I don't think I saw the Boss show. I don't think I saw it. I never really, I just don't care for Hugo Boss, but they always have like interesting like people that they invite. I guess it's because their budgets are just insane. So they always invite really interesting people and like the people that go and like all that sort of stuff is really cool. So yeah. The basketball sneaker. Oh gosh, basketball sneaker. Can you imagine me turning up to basketball practice in those shoes? People think I've lost the plot. Chat said, "Are we done talking about Balenciaga? Let's move on." It seems that that's the case. Come on, guys. I even wore an amazing outfit just for you guys. Like I've got the jeans on lock. And the thing, do you know what I love about like Demna's Balenciaga? Something like you guys don't understand. Like it's just being genius. Like look at how many different ways I can style these jeans. I can turn it into a tie. I can tie it up into a neck. I can then tie it into a loop like this. Like you guys don't know. Like there's so many styling opportunities. Like look at this. So I've essentially made like a hood out of my jeans. Like look at this expert styling. Like let me put it in full screen so you guys can see. Look at this expert styling, guys. Like this is what you guys don't understand about Balenciaga. Like the styling opportunities are just insane. Like look, let me go sideways so you guys can see the side view. Like look at this. This is styling 101, guys. Like get to know, guys. They're hearing you, but they're not listening to you. Avant-garde final boss. That is hilarious. The urbans that get it. If Homeboy comes doing these, like Homeboy is gonna get it. Exactly, pushing the boundaries of fashion. Like, what do they know about that? The swag is overbearing. My brain does not compute. Lotta could never. Oh my god. Keep laughing at IO, but if JW Anderson released this shit, you'd eat it up. I definitely feel like JW Anderson has definitely done something along these lines anyway. Oh my word. The jeans are cool, but the belt is next level luxury fashion. The pants on her head reminds me of the class clown in our kindergarten class who would take off his clothes to piss the teacher off. Oh my word, man. That's funny. That is way too funny. That was actually that gave me a laugh. That was hilarious. You guys are I love that we have the same sense of humor here, guys. That was actually really funny. If Balenciaga sold this, they'll be like featuring lambskin leather belt accents and gold treated hardware. The jeans tied on your neck are preppy grungy. I don't know what else to write. Oh my god! But this would sell like hotcakes. Like if you had, what would they call this? Balenciaga would call this some sort of like a separate like jeans hood. You know how a lot of designers sell like just hoods in different fabrics? It's kind of like, do you guys remember when uh Raf Simons at Calvin Klein was doing like those balaclavas, right? So this is kind of like a jean bally, like if you just, or like a jean scarf, kind of just if it went further down your eyes like that. They could literally sell that. Let me not give Balenciaga too many ideas because they could, if they style it like this, like tied to the neck, they could actually sell this. That's the insane thing about it. Yeah, the babushka plus jeans equal to the bajinska. The bajinska. Tax the ideas. I know, right? The Jalaclava. Balenciaga are definitely watching. They're like, wow, why didn't we think of selling these as like a hood? Just know, guys, in the next season, if we see an accessory um that Balenciaga have made where it's like a detachable like pair of jeans or like a hood made out of a pair of jeans, just know that you saw it here first. You heard of it here first. That means I could essentially be a designer for a luxury. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I am joking, guys. We need to make a class action lawsuit if they do that. Rumor has it Moa Lola is already on this idea. Oh my god. But anyway, this was fun chopping it up with you guys, of course. The regular streams, because I haven't been streaming, I've been working and taking a break from YouTube and doing other things, but I'm back in full force. I will be reviewing a lot of the shows. So thank you very much for tuning in. It was really fun talking about Demna's show, talking about Balenciaga as always. So yeah, stay tuned. Starting in a few days, I will be streaming a lot more often, like I said. So we should be sharing our thoughts on different brands in the spring summer 25 season. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys later.